This is Nikki in Niagara coming to you from Niagara Falls, Canada, and welcome to vlog episode 15. Today is Tuesday, September 8th, the day after Labor Day, and I am working on a Demita Victoria picture here. This is from the book Fantastic Beauties. I haven't worked in this book yet. So, I just thought I would log in for a short one, because I don't really have anything to say, which is probably, probably the key phrase of my vlogs. I don't have much to say. I have nothing to say. Basically what I mean is I don't do much, so I don't have much to say. That's the way it is. So, I am actually working on, I've got my blotter page behind, very important. I am actually working on the challenge in my Facebook group this month. We have a color palette that we had to match our markers up to, and this is the color palette. You can see it there. It's really pretty, isn't it? So, this was my Spin the Wheel book, and I thought, well, perfect match, pretty colors to color a pretty girl. So that's what I did. Also have managed to come up with some gel pens that match the colors that we're working with too. And when you watch this, it will be the middle of September, so if you want to join the group, you still have plenty of time to get in on September's challenge of using this color palette to color your next picture. Well, not your next picture, but any picture. So, I'm just left with this bit inside the hat and the flowers, but I have to do a little bit of color juggling, because I don't want the same color touching the same color in my main picture, because I've got to use those colors. So, I've got these. Well, I've got this. I have two of the blue, because this one was kind of running out and the chisel tip wouldn't work, so I had to go find it in a different brand and that was fuller, and then I've gone back to using this one for the smaller parts because the bullet tip's still working. So the two blues were almost the same, and look at what I've done here. I'd missed out doing those. Okay, so I wanted those to match the bottom. Fill those in first, and then what color should that big bobble in the middle be? Let's see, it can't be yellow because that's what color I did the rays. I suppose it still could be, but well, it can't be blue because that's what color the hat is. It can't be this color because that's what color the ribbon is. It can be this color and it can be this color. Well, this color is a very light pink. It's kind of a you know, a kind of a light pink there. It would actually look nice in the center there because we'd be able to see through and see the gray shadowing in this. Because my other option is the dark pink, which I haven't used anywhere except for down here. So to bring it up is good. And that's not going to touch any flowers, because I did want to use this for some, if not all, the flowers. Well, you know what? If I put this on and don't like it, I can cover it with this one. So that's what we'll do. I have to let this dry before we can decide upon it, because it just kind of Makes the paper look, well, no. It's looking good. I think I like that touch. Look at the gray shadow coming in nicely. Yeah, I like that there. This is very similar to the skin tone that I used. But this is blush, and the skin tone that I used was something peach. So they're not the same. Okay, so now I have to decide what colors my flowers can be. So let's start back here. So we've got the turquoise. And they can't be turquoise because the leaves are turquoise, and that would just be silly. Okay. They can't be yellow because the hair goes all around where the flowers are, and they'd be touching the hair and just disappear into them. Okay, so blue, the dark blue. Just a teeny bit touch in there and a teeny bit touch in there, so that's fine. I don't have to do those flowers blue. All the rest of them can be though, no problem. Okay, and we already said that the dark pink would work because it's not touching it anywhere, and neither is this. So those are my three colors I can do for the flowers. So if I do my flowers, one of these colors or two of these colors or all three of them, can I use either of these for the centers? The centers here touch the hair. It would be nice to be able to use white. Yellow. It would be nice to use yellow. I don't suppose I could put yellow down. Something on top of it that would make it look green. Or that would make it look brown. Oh my goodness. Okay. Can you see this? Yeah. Don't want to put it on top of there. Okay, so let's get a little bit of this color and put it down. Now if I put my yellow on it, I should get some shade of green. Let it dry up. Yeah, I think that'll look alright. It definitely makes it not look like that color. Okay, that's what we'll do. So the centers are going to be green with the yellow on top. This is turquoise actually, not green. I keep calling it green though because that's usually what color you use for leaves. But not in this world. So, yeah, since this is kind of about my group, I just wanted to check in and let you guys know that we're at, last I checked today, we were, well, it's going to be the same because I have to approve people for there to be more in the group. But we are at 91. Can you believe that? I went public with it on Friday, and today is Tuesday. So I actually invited a few people that I knew to the group so that I could just do a little bit of fiddling around with it to make sure I knew where things were and you know how it worked and that sort of thing. I have moderated Facebook channels before, but there's this new Facebook. When isn't there a new one? So yeah, the change, there's all sorts of changes to how things are set up, and probably especially on the end of somebody trying to run something, more so than on people just using the site for, you know, chat, talk, and whatever it is you do on Facebook. I don't do the rest of it. If you friend me on Facebook and I can tell that you're from the coloring community, I will friend you, but I don't use my Facebook board. So the reason that I friend people is so that they, what am I doing? So that they can contact me through Facebook. But I don't friend people that I can't vouch for as having a connection with, so go away, spammers. You won't get on my Facebook page. So, I don't know what day that was. I think it was maybe Wednesday. Could have been Tuesday. I honestly have no idea. All I know is that I told them that I'd be letting people know on my communications board the next day, which was Thursday, but I didn't actually do it until Friday. So on Friday, I put the notice up on my community board, and a lot of you joined us that way. A lot of you joined us that way. And then I put the official public announcement on my Monday vlog, or in my Monday vlog. So people who watch me found out that way. And they went over, and we had a big surge when that came out of people joining. And ever since, it's been a steady little stream of 1 to 5 or so at a time that I'm adding to the group. So if you haven't already, whoops, I just can't keep my mind on things here while I'm talking about this. So if you weren't sure about it before and you'd like to get in on doing challenges like this every month, there was this one, and we did the one previously on the channel, the Fire and Ice one. I want to get in on doing that, as well as participating in all the regular Facebook group things. Come on over and join us. And it looks like I missed a stem over there. Just looking, I saw it. So, I'll tell you, on the weekend, Saturday night, I thought I was dying. Don't worry, I didn't. Okay, so first of all, what do you think? Would it be best if I did the flowers all one color or 2 colors? I'm thinking this is too light, but I really don't want it. Okay, it has to be pink. Let me do some pink, and then I can decide from there. These 2 have to be pink because of the blue. Oh my goodness. I took the whole thing off. Okay, come on. No. Just the lid, not the whole thing. These things are so hard to get off. I knew something like that was going to happen. Okay, there. Sheesh. So yeah, I thought I was dying. I woke up in the middle of the night, and well, not even the middle of the night, it was 1:30. I woke up out of a good sleep at 1:30, and I felt something in my throat, and then it went, you know, like kind of like I was going to throw up, but it didn't go that high. I didn't gag. I just kind of like felt this stuff in my esophagus, and then it went down, and then, oh my God, my throat hurt so much. I felt like someone had poured acid down my throat. I've never ever felt that in my entire life. And I'm like, I'm writhing, and I'm like, I can't stand this, I can't stand this. Like, what do I do? What's happening? And so finally I went, milk, go get some milk, go get some milk. So I rushed off downstairs. Well, I rushed as much as I can rush. I went to the kitchen, and I got some milk, and oh, it felt so nice having the milk. But as soon as I was done the feeling came back again. So I drank a bit of milk. It was still hurting, and so I thought, okay, bread sucks up stuff. Let's have some bread. So I just got some bread and started tearing pieces off of it. I don't normally eat bread. And I just started tearing pieces off of it. And that felt good while I was eating it. And so then anyways, I got up and I went into the art room or craft room, coloring room, whatever you want to call it. And I sat on the bed in there. And I just like moaned and writhed and drank milk, because I took I took the bottle of milk upstairs, or the jug of milk upstairs with me, and the loaf of bread. And I spent the night nibbling on bread and drinking my milk until finally around 5:30. Oh, see, look, this is dying out too. These, oh wait, I got it back to be at the right angle. And yeah, around 5:30 I went back to bed, and my husband woke up to go to the bathroom about 7:30, and he comes back, and I said, I almost died last night. Me, dramatic. Never. So yeah, I explained what happened, and as soon as I said it, felt like I'd had acid poured down my throat. He went, acid reflux. And I went, is that what that is? I thought I'd had acid reflux before. But no, I guess I just had gas, because I've never, ever, and I mean ever, experienced that. Yeah, this is not working. What have we got over here in the oh-hoo-hoos? What number is it? Oh, I'm not going to have, oh yeah, I do. I'm in 86. Okay, so hopefully this isn't too far off. Ooh, it's a lot brighter. That's okay. I'll just go over all the whole flower, do it again. Yeah, the oh-hoo-hoos are on the bright side, or the dark side, depending on what the color is. If it's a brown, it's on the dark side. If it's a pink, it's bright. That's what you'll find with those. And, you know, sometimes that's what, some people are okay with that, that's what they want, but then sometimes people are looking for more pastels and that kind of thing. You're not going to get a pastel in the 80 set of oh-hoo-hoos. So yeah, so apparently I had acid reflux. I never ever knew. I don't ever want to go through that again. And my husband did it to me too, because I mean there's very little change in my diet. I eat the same food over and over again because there's not much I can't eat. Unfortunately, chocolate is something I can eat. Cake and ice cream and all sorts of sweet foods, pie, they make me sick. So I don't eat them because I know how sick they're going to make me. But, so which is good, because then, you know, I don't get calories from that stuff. But, yeah, no, chocolate doesn't hurt me. So he had these, he's back at work with the wine company, because they just, they were just allowed to open up to the public again. So, he's back at work there. And, so anyways, he did a tour, and they ended up at they ended up at the chocolate factory, which is one of the places that's popular here that they went to. And the lady there, she always gives him stuff. I said she must have a crush on him. I think that he's sweet. So he gave, or she told him to go get a bag of chocolates for himself. And so he offered me. He said, "Do you want some?" And I said, "Sure." And so it was chocolate, and he put about 10 of them in a bowl, and they're just little, they were, oh, I'll tell you what they are so you know what size they are. They were chocolate covered almonds, okay? And they were rolled in ground up coffee dust. So I didn't really understand that, but I'm pretty sure that would have been like ground coffee that was ground up even more so that it was a dust, you know, like how you dust bakery things with chocolate. Well, apparently you can dust stuff with coffee too. So anyways, they were delicious, and I ate my 10 like there was no tomorrow. That was all fine. And then in the night I got the acid reflux, so it must have been. Now that looks really nice. I think I should just continue, because the only other place that this is down here. And now that I'm using this pen, it's a slightly different shade. Yeah, I'm going to go with this all the way around, except I forgot to do my centers on there. So it had to be that, because that was the only thing that had been down into my stomach. That was new. But he didn't have any problem, and he's the one who's supposed to be sensitive to coffee. He drinks caffeine-free coffee all the time because he says caffeine bothers him. Well, I don't know about that. If he can, and me, I mean, I can chug 10 cups of coffee a day, no problem. Although I don't anymore. I usually have 2 cups of coffee a day now, which is like amazing. But I don't know, it's like since COVID I've made some changes, and I usually got up in the morning and drank coffee until noon, but I'm getting up earlier, so that has part of it, because I usually wake up between 3:30 and 4, and I get up and I have my coffee, and you know, I start working on the internet with whatever I've got to do on there, and you know, I just start living the day, and I go to bed early. So I stopped drinking coffee from the time I got up in the morning until noon, because even I was finding it way too much. And so I went down to 3 cups of coffee first thing in the morning, 1 in a row, right after each other. And then I found that I started like not being able to drink the 3rd one. And so now I'm down to 2 cups of coffee in the morning. So maybe the tolerance to all things coffee has been just, I don't know, taken away from me. What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, you know what I mean. So, yeah, we're almost getting done here. I should probably see if I can let you guys see the finished thing on here. Okay, so I'm going to stop being delicate about this and just kind of go my coloring on camera speed here. So I don't have a lot more to say. There goes my catchphrase again. Nikki, And I don't have much to say. Niagara! Yay! But yeah. I really like how I did those centers. So yeah, don't forget you can always blend your colors together to make new colors. So yeah, the only other thing to say is that we talked to the guidance counselor at the Adult Education Center to re-register him, our son, into continuing upgrading his high school skills. Because, I mean, he didn't get far last year. No kids got far last year. I mean, only March, September, like was it March? Oh yeah, so I guess they were in their second semesters, but they hadn't done too much in their second semesters, would they? I wonder if kids automatically got their credits for those classes that they didn't, that they hardly did. Or if that's going to set everybody behind half a year. Whatever graduation year is for the kids currently now. Oh, I guess it would be every year because they were all in one. Yeah, duh. Anyways, I don't really care about the kids back at school because I don't have kids that age anymore. But, so he is going back to school on Monday. We had at first thought it was going to be Tuesday, but no, it's Monday, so 6 days from today. A week from yesterday. And he'll be back to school, and we will be glad to have him back to school because he has done nothing while he's been off. He's just become a big, lazy game player. Now, mind you, he helps me out. So I can't say he's done nothing, but not anything for himself. Okay, so the only thing left is background, and what color am I going to go with out of these 5? Again, it can't be yellow. It can't be turquoise because it would touch it. It can't be pink because it would touch it. It can't be blue because it would touch it. Oh, no, this was light pink. Well, it isn't going to be very exciting, but it's not going to take away from the picture, so it's not the one I would, well, I didn't have any choice, did I? I did choose it. The only problem is that the background is grayscaled on this one, so it might take away from the pinkiness. Okay, well, while I finish up the background, let's do a Would You Rather. Okay, so the next question is, this one's a thinker. Put on your thinking hats. Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life? Ooh boy. That's tough for me because I'm not in a great situation right now, so definitely would want to change it if I was given one of those magical buttons. Wouldn't want to change my loved ones though. Well, putting a pause on my life would be fun, like if I weren't paused. If everybody else was paused. Or, I don't know, like that. First of all, I would need clarification on what it means. Does it mean that I press the timer on stop, like the stopwatch, and time stops, and everybody is frozen in place except for me. I get to walk around a bit and do everything I want. That would be fun, because then I could go get all the things that that we need. And nobody would know. I'd never get caught. Now, of course, that's saying that I don't mind being a thief, but I can pretend that I wouldn't mind that if I'm going to pretend that I'm stopping time. But, yeah, I mean, there's that. Rewinding my life, I made a lot of mistakes. I guess I'm thinking about it now. I think maybe rewinding, if I got to pick to what point, I wouldn't just rewind and start all over again. No, because I wouldn't want to lose the loved ones that I have now. So, yeah, if I rewound my life to when my husband and I became serious about each other, I could do that, because, I mean, we wouldn't have had Matthew yet, but we still would, because I believe that God gives you the children you were meant to have, no matter what choices you made in your life. And that we would have still had the same soul. He might look a little bit different, but there are parts of him that are uniquely him. And he does take after his dad a lot in looks. And so, you know, well, I'm just saying that if I had ended up with somebody different, then Matthew wouldn't have those characteristics that he takes after his dad now. Maybe he'd look different because he'd have the characteristics of the different dad, but he would have the characteristics from me still, and he would have the ones that were uniquely him. So I don't think he would look all that different. And as I said, he would be the same person, because I believe, yeah, God says that he knew us at the beginning, so he knew us before we were born. So yeah, I don't have any problem with being concerned about not getting my Matthew. So, okay, that would be good. I will live through the terrible time with my ex-husband, and I'll live through all the mistakes I made as a kid, but put me back to the time that Mr. Niagara and I became serious about each other, and we'll start over from there, and we will take some chances, and we will take some opportunities which come along that ended us up in this place that we're in. We will be wiser. Both of us. I'll make him be wiser. Of course, I'm not going to be able to remember. Of course, you know, it doesn't say that. I'm putting all this stuff into my mind about what the rules are and making it up. But if everything would go the way that I would want it to go, and I don't want to have a memory. I don't want to go back to that point in time and remember what happened the first time. No, I don't want that. That wouldn't be leading a life of free will, and God gave us free will, so yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna rewind my life to that point, and that will give us a chance to have a better life than we have now. A bit, you know, I mean, basically I'm talking health, you know, overall health. I wouldn't wish away my son's autism, because he is who he is, and he wouldn't be the person he is if he didn't have his autism. He'd be, you know, God made him like that, and not only was he made that way, we were supposed to have that child. So, I'm talking about Mr. Niagara. I have to get used to saying his name. Mr. Niagara and I's health. And hopefully we would improve our lot in life. And I'm just finishing up after all that serious talk business. Now, yeah, the background's not the prettiest, but boy, does she have a long neck. I never even noticed that in the picture. That's because I've been looking at it from this angle like this. But when you look at her from I guess you're looking straight down at her. That is a long neck. Holy, no wonder maybe she's got it tied to keep her head from like flopping over to one side. Like those women with the rings around their necks. If they, once they get to be a certain age, they can't take all of those off because their head has no strength. Oh my goodness, that just reminds me once of a show I watched about this little boy in India, and he had no neck muscles, and his head just flopped from side to side, and he was like 10, and they carried him around in a basket on their back or on their head, and that's where he lived his life. And the positions and the maneuvers and everything that he got into because of not having neck muscles were just like, wow. Anyways, it was a very poignant and sad story at first, but it had a happy ending. He was given, I don't know how he did it. I think maybe a doctor, yeah, it was a doctor in whatever the big city is in India there. A doctor found out about him and had him come, and he did an operation on him. So yeah, he ended up being normal. So yeah, don't want to end that on a sad note. So yeah. All right, so that is my pretty picture. So next time I come on, and if you're in the group, I'll be posting this, so you'll have seen it by the time that this video comes up. And my next picture that I will be doing on here the next time that I log in will be my spooky picture. Alright, so talk to you, I don't know what day, today's Tuesday, so Thursday I get awfully tired when I have my needles, so it'll either be tomorrow, Wednesday, or Friday. Probably Friday, because I seem to log in on Fridays pretty regularly. But for you, it's only going to be a second anyway, so. See you in a bit. Hello guys, here I am checking it in again. It is Friday night at 8 o'clock, so we won't have that glare for long. So I have been putting off doing this today for some reason, just feeling kind of, I don't know if I've just been feeling lazy or just kind of in a blah. Not too serious though. I did get myself up and here we go. I didn't bring my drink with me, but we'll wait and see if I need it. So we are going, I'm just covering up the glare there because I'm sure it bothers you, and I know it bothers me, but this is the GothArte Tenebris collection. 24 dark gothic and scully illustrations from Terry Sherman's alter ego, GothArte Tenebris. So this is a collection of Terry Sherman's work, dark art. And I will be doing this, actually, Actually, I think I'll probably color this front. That would be cool. Yeah, so I'll be doing a full flip. It sounds like a broken record. And most people don't know what that sounds like. What's the equivalent of a broken record today? Yes, a full flip through of this book will be coming up. I will be doing some flip throughs this week. Where is my picture? I think it's next. Nope, it's next. I had to choose for my first picture. Like, I went through this book and I had a really hard time picking a picture to color for the first time because I liked every single one of them. And then it ended up being, I said to myself, just go to the front and pick one. Just go ahead and pick it. So, I made up an excuse as to why I couldn't make each one of those my first ones. Then I stopped on here and I was like, yeah, it's going to be this one. And I started coming up with some ideas and I just took a look over here and I went, no, this has to be my first. So yes, this is the first picture I'm doing out of here. And do you get to the reference here? She's right that I need to get my drink. So that gave you guys a couple of seconds to actually think. It is Alice in Wonderland. It's not too hard to guess, but every single thing on here has a reference to her. We start with this thing right here, which, even though it has horns, is definitely a smiling cat ears. We've got the roses for the painted roses. There's a key here, which I'm thinking is the, for opening, you know, when she has to, when she has to grow? She has to grow and get the key off of the table. And then she starts to cry because she can't get through the little door and all that stuff. And then we have the pocket watch, which represents the White Rabbit. And finally, we have the hat, which represents the Mad Hatter. And then there is an Ace of Hearts card here, with the hearts representing the Queen of Hearts and the royal family. And if you didn't guess it by then, there's an A. It's an ace that stands for Alice. I think that's really cool. Number one, that she managed to make every object relate to her. And two, I understood it all. The only thing I can't figure is, why did she put a ring on this finger? Because I can't remember a ring being anything special in Alice in Wonderland, and the ring isn't special. It's just a gem inside of a gem. Or it doesn't even look like a gem. It looks like a circle. It's an oval inside an oval. So anyways, I've been working on this kind of slowly over the course of the afternoon while I watch some Let's Start Coloring, and then I'll start talking. So we're going to be working on the hat and the belt today. They're all going to be the same color. I'm using a lot of blacks on here, so I'm trying some new stuff. I did black blue hair, and I did look up a combination for black hair and got this one. I ended up picking the wrong blue by mistake. I thought I was getting the one they told me to use, and I accidentally picked a different one, but I like it anyways. I have no problem with it. So this next one is what I made up all by myself, so we will have to see what it looks like. But I will be coloring this darkest to lightest, which is not what I usually do, but I find it's working. It worked well there with black. So I'm going to be using black, then I'm going to be using black raspberry, and then I'm going to be using 70% cool gray. So first of all, I start with black, which is PC 935. Now, there's a curve. There's a curve there. Would there be a highlight? No, I'm not going to do any highlights. Not now anyways. So, yeah, just go over it lightly. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was slowly coloring here while I was watching some YouTube. So, I'm finally back to watching again. You know, I've been going through a bit of a stage here where I'm not reading and I'm not watching things on watching shows either. I've only been watching YouTube videos. But I am back to watching, and it looks like I may be going through a nonfiction phase again, because first thing I watched was I found this show, and it was called History Cold Case, and it's a British show, and it had 3 seasons, I believe. Each season had 4 episodes. British show, that's how they work. And they are forensic scientists who work in archaeology. And I guess they could be called forensic archaeologists. And so they would be presented with cases and asked to do some work on these skeletal remains that had been sent to them. And you know, sometimes the skeletal remains were dug up in like the 1980s, and these people are bringing them to them now because they want to, they've decided, they've gone as far as they can through history, and they've decided to get a historical, to get a scientific viewpoint from the bones. Oh, I'm talking like William Shatner again. They look at the bones. Yeah, then they look at the bones and they find out where they're from and what happened to them and circumstances. They have 3 people, and then they'll have some other experts that come to tell them something, or there's other people kind of around the office that they talk to. But the 3 main people is the professor, who is in charge of the team, and she's the bone expert, like of picking up a bone and saying what's wrong about it. Then next of all is a doctor who she's with the doctor. She's kind of her professor. She's kind of her assistant. She's always with her with whatever it is that, you know, what she's doing with the bones, and she goes out with her to tell the people what happened and stuff. But her main job is to gather history. They'll have some questions after having looked at the bones, and then she'll go out and find out, you know, the historical time period. And as they find out more things, you know, by getting DNA from the bones and all this other stuff, and she'll go out and, you know, as they know more and more. And then the third person is a face reconstructurist. And obviously she oh boy, my mouth is so dry that I can't say S's very well. I don't know why, it just is. Yeah, and then the third person, yeah, I told you. So that's the only bit that I kind of think makes it seem like it is for television. Okay, so now I'm going to do Black Raspberry, and I have no idea what this is going to look like, because, you know, I think maybe it's going to be, I don't know if this is going to give enough color. So, yeah, doing the face reconstruction doesn't seem important because of other shows that I've watched, and they say how expensive face reconstruction is, and they only do it if it's like absolutely needed. Like in cases of like modern cases of missing people and trying to identify a body and that kind of stuff when they found skeletal remains. But these guys only deal with the past, so I don't know. Maybe it's something that they do regularly. That's included in their budget. So yeah, I watched that and I finished it. And then I went back to a show that I had watched the first season of, and that was all there was at the time. But now I find out there's a lot more seasons, and so I've gone back to watch that, and it's called Murder Maps. So I just finished watching the end of season. Oh no, I just started watching. I watched the first episode of season 3. Now, Murder Maps is about just presenting cases from history in London. So London's historical crime is what it's about. And so they do, so far, they've done stuff that was in the Victorian times. They haven't done Jack the Ripper. They skipped him because it would be too, like, Jack the Ripper's been done to death, and it would be just too expected for a show like that to do Jack the Ripper. So they didn't. They did some other ones. And that was all season 1. Season 2 was a combination of those and those at the beginning of the 20th century, and now that we're into season 3, it's kind of like we're in the 20s up to during World War I. Sorry, no, to World War II. There was a couple of, oh no, that wasn't season 2, yeah. There was a couple of serial killers that went through London during the Blitz. They used the cover of darkness during the raids to commit their crimes. Isn't that horrible? Hopefully a lot of them got bombed on their way to do their nefarious things. So now I'm putting down PC 1065, which is 70% cool gray. And so now looking at it, I've definitely lost my black. This is the black raspberry, looks like a brown. So when I come on here, I'm going to have to push a bit with the black when it comes on to get that established. And I'm also really kind of wanting to read some nonfiction stuff. So while one of the guys, one of the experts was talking about the historical period of something on, yeah, it was on Murder Maps, and taking another sip. Did I complete that? No, I didn't do up here. Oh no, I didn't do down here either. They listed him as a historical historical analyst or something, and author. And he's the author of this book called Secrets of the Blitz. Secret History of the Blitz, which sounds interesting if it's about the stuff that he was talking about. So I'm going to take a look, see if I can find that and what it's about, see if I really would like to read it. And if not, I'd like to go back and read Eric Larson's new books. I know he has one out since I was reading them. It's been a while. since I read his books. I don't know what the last one was I read. I know what the second last one I read was. The second last one I read was the one about the English ambassador at the at Germany, and he stayed there during the war, and he was kind of like a liaison between them. And you know, he also let me do this a little bit darker. And they also he also told them things that went on. And I remember that, like, the major plot of this, like, Erik Larson covers everything, like the whole complete history and the whole social history as you're going along, so that you can't just sum up one of his books. But the main theme sort of was that because intelligence, both British and American, ignored things that this guy told them, the war could have ended much sooner than it did. And that there was a lot of things that went wrong with the people in charge. So it was quite interesting, but it wasn't my favorite because I'm not 100% into world, like, wars. And then I'm sure he had a book come out after that, which I loved, and it put me back in love with him as an author. So that may have been the last one I read, if there was one that came out after that, and I read it. So I don't know. If you know Erik Larson and you know the books he wrote after that one that I was talking about, it had Churchill in the title, though it really didn't have much to do with Churchill. So, no, I think this is going to be alright. It's going to end up being brown. But at the end, I go over it with a light black. Because instead of doing, like, I'm doing 6 layers here. That's what I normally do. I do this. And then at the end, you go over with your first color. Usually I work from, this is light to dark, so I would go over it with light. But this is dark to light, so I'm going to go over it at the end with the black, but I'm not going to burnish. I will use a colorless blender after that, and it should bring out all the tones like it did here. Well, you can see the colors in the highlights I made, but even when you're looking straight at the black, you can definitely see the blue in there. Oh, I wish I would stop that. I can't remember if I did everything. I must have. It's all brown. Okay, I need another drink because my throat is so... So that's where I am with, oh, you know, I was going to do the belt too. Okay, let's finish this because it's all it needs before we go back to black, and then I'll do the belt. So, I guess I talked to you the first time on Monday, and we were working on the Demita Victoria picture, and I'm pretty sure I finished coloring that with you guys. So I uploaded it, and then I found out the day after I uploaded it that Demita Victoria had featured me as one of their features of the day. So that was pretty cool. That sort of thing doesn't happen to me very often. And then yesterday was my pain clinic visit day. And I went to the pain clinic, as usual. Told them about all the pain I'm having in my legs. Like my legs from my thighs and my calves. They hurt like so bad. And as well as being part of fibro, he said I probably have some arthritis going on there in my hips and knees, ankles, whatever. But I can't get any relief for arthritis because I can't take NSAIDs. That's muscle relaxants. I just can't take them. They're toxic to me. Okay, now we're going to do the belt. So, it's a good thing I didn't do the shading on the hat because you wouldn't see it. Not like you do in that. I did that blue to represent the, well, I think Alice has a blue bow in her hair, but it represents the blue that she wears, her dress, because she has no body here. So we're just going to skip around the buckle. So yeah, I like that. It's kind of like a maroon brown. Well, we'll see what happens when we add the black over top and burnish it. So I'll talk to my regular doctor. I have an appointment with her on Tuesday over the phone. My doctors are still not seeing people in person. And I know I only spoke of this once before, but our levels here in Ontario today became the highest they've been since June. That was when we were in the first stage. It's just, we can't, I think that just most of us as a world cannot, or at least Western people, cannot follow the rules. The only way they can follow them is to force them, make them law to follow. And we have a law here in Ontario that you must be masked inside every building. Obviously not your home, but otherwise, when you go to a public building where there's other people, even if there's nobody else in it, when you're in it, you have to be masked, and that's the law. But do policemen have time to go around finding people not wearing masks or arresting them? I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, I'm sure some policemen are just ignoring it because they want to, and others just don't have the time. You know, crime is a serious business, and is not wearing a mask and is wearing a mask that a crime that needs to be fought as hard as murders and drug trafficking and well, not drug trafficking, and just drugs and people trafficking. That's what I meant to say. So I don't know what's going to happen. They said that we would have this second wave in September. So is it going to last 5 months now? It'll be 2021. Oy, oy, oy. I'm a very cautious person during this whole thing. I've followed the suggestions and the laws to the letter, and sometimes further. And that's all I really want to say, because this isn't, my channel's not about politics. Okay, so now I have black to go over the whole thing with. So after the pain clinic, hubby said that Mr. Niagara said that he would give me $15 if I wanted to go to Michael's, because we had an hour between my appointments. After the pain appointment, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist. So I think that's enough. Maybe just a little bit more. So, $15 does not go very far in Michael's, but I was overjoyed to go there and was quite happy with my $15. So, we went there, and I saw lots of things that I wanted, of course. Most of it was way overpriced. Everything was 50, was 2 times to 3 times the price it was on Amazon. And that's our only place to go in Canada. We don't have any other craft stores. Michael's is it. So I wanted to spend my $15, and so I ended up buying two Pitt pens. They were $6.99 Canadian each. So, so with tax, I ended up paying $15.80. I went over. I went over the $15 he gave me. And all I got was 2 pens. And little pens. Oy, oy, oy. But I'd been wanting to try the bullet tip Pitt pen, the 1.5 centimeter one, and they had that, so I got it, and then I figured, well, I only have a few Pitt pens, and they're in blacks and sepias and grays, so I thought I would get myself a color, so I went with magenta. So now I can try those out and see what I think of them. You know what? I missed doing the red on that rose for this side right here. I'll have to get back to that. Okay, so now I'm going to burnish and we'll see what this is like. It's going to be a little bit darker here because there's some darker black. What are we getting? Oh, it's too black. I'm going to add another layer of this on top. And it's still taking it. You know, Prismacolors don't take very many layers. But if you do it light enough, you can get a few out of it. So I'm kind of, it's not filling in all the spaces with this one, but I am laying down some color. So that's the most important thing. I want to try and get this to be not black. Well, to be black with a hint of color in it. Maybe I should have gone with something that was a little redder. Okay, that's it. Whatever color it turns out now is the color that it's going to be. I love burnishing. This is my very first nubby. I sharpened it for the last time. I will not be able to sharpen it again. And on top of that, I don't want to sharpen away the PC. Like, I don't want to sharpen away the numbers. I want to know what they are. And I'm going to save it in a jar, a glass jar, and put all my stubbies in there as I make them. This is my very first one, my very first stubby. So I've got several coming up. If I use them, they'll end up being nubbies. I need to go back to Michael's with a list of the Prismacolors that are getting to that short stage where I am afraid to use them because I'm going to run out. So I don't know. Getting quite a bit of a bloom on this too, so when I'm finished I'm going to rub it with a brush, with a makeup brush, to take the wax off. So, went to Michael's, and then it was time to go to my psychiatrist's office. And you know, we never know how long I'm going to be there because sometimes we have to wait hours. You know, sometimes he's been called to the hospital, or sometimes he just doesn't come in until later. And that means we've waited there for hours, but you can't complain because psychiatrists are very hard to come by. We are lucky to have the one that we have, because most psychiatrists here in private practice will not bill the government. So we're on, or I'm on, a fixed income, so mine are my medical expenses, the ones that aren't free. They get paid by the government. And I went to him when he worked at a hospital, and so therefore he was only paid by the government when he worked at the hospital. But then the hospital closed down, and all the psychiatrists there, I think they had 5, and they either retired or they went into private practice. And mine went into private practice, and he's moved to a few different cities during that time until he finally came to rest. Like, he went away from the Niagara region. Well, one of the places he went was Hamilton, and that's not considered part of the Niagara region, but it's the closest large city, metropolis, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah. But we have to go there sometimes when we have to go to the hospital and stuff like that too, so we're used to it. And then he moved to Toronto, and we were kind of patients of his via telephone. And he was just going to see us once every 6 months. But he didn't like it there, and he moved back to Niagara region, and he set up shop in St. Catharines. So we are lucky to have him there, that he kept us on as patients. And his family, he treats whole families too, because John, well, I was the first one to have him, and then John started to go see him, and then our son went to go see him too, because he needed to have one now that he was an adult to be able to get the support that he gets from the government for being autistic and learning challenged. So I went there, and the whole appointment was fine and everything, but I didn't even bring my brush over. I'm not going to use my hand. I usually have a makeup brush that I do that with. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you can see the true colors of that or not. I'll go like that a bit. Or up. No, you can't see it. It's up. Closer to the light, it shines more. So I don't know if you can tell. The hat is definitely brown. You can see the shade marks that she made in black underneath of it, so that looks good. I can't really go on top of it anymore because I burnished it while I was doing this. But I wonder if I could go over again just lightly and kind of rub over those white spots. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll be happy with it. I don't know color-wise if I'm happy with this or not. It's not what I expected when I started. I expected it to have a maroon tint to it, like the hair has a blue tint. But I guess it does. It just seems more brown, but it really is maroon. So I guess I'm happy. So the next thing that has to be black in this is the cat's fur, because obviously if she is this living dead skull, she must have a black cat. And I don't think any self, or I don't know what the word is, but I don't think goths would be happy with a cat that wasn't black. And I'm not talking about people goths, I'm talking about this kind of a goth. An undead goth. Because I really don't think that a skeleton with no head is not undead. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Bern? Oh, that's kind of working nicely. Yeah, I gotta call it quits. It's not doing anything except moving around the wax, and I gotta give that a good rubbing to rub the wax off top of that. So the thing that happened at the psychiatrist's is that, you know, after I had talked to him, and as we're following a certain plan we had decided on, my meds got switched up a bit. So I'm not looking forward to that, because usually when I start new meds, I'm starting one new one and I'm getting two others, one reduced and one increased, you know, messed around with. Well, when I start a new drug, a psychiatric drug, I go loopy for about a month and a half. So if I seem a little strange in the next month and a half in my chats, then we can all chalk it up to a medicine change. So hopefully I'll have the sense not to come on if I'm like that, but you know, sometimes you don't know and somebody has to tell you. So I think that's all I'm gonna do today. So I think we're probably gonna have just a little bit over an hour for this vlog, which I'm more happy with the hour and a half ones, but you know, you can only do what you can do. So I'm gonna see you guys next week, next Monday. So you take care of yourselves. And I have we just found out that a relative of ours has cancer, and not a good one. And one of my subscribers has cancer as well. And my thoughts and prayers go out to both of them. And just keep up the fight, stay strong. All of us keep up our fights and stay strong, stay healthy, and wear a mask. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, bye-bye.